So thank you first for that very kind introduction and welcome. I also wanted to thank the organizers for inviting me to come back to this very special place because of, as the Admiral referenced, this cross between the history and the future. I mean, this was a place that the key concepts that helped the United States win, whether it was in World War II to the Cold War, were developed by the combination of students and faculty years before that. And the same sort of enterprise is going on here right now, and you'll be part of it. So it's just, as someone who is a history buff, it's an added honor to be able to come speak to you. Second, I wanted to add personal thanks, in addition to the organizers, to Professor John Jackson for a couple. If you don't know him yet, I know we've got new folks here. He stands out for two different reasons. The first is that with Tim Schultz there, they teach the Unmanned Systems elective, and it's a great course that connects to many of the topics that we'll be talking about over the next couple of days, and obviously crucial to the future of thinking about war at sea and beyond. If we're trying to wrestle with this topic area that they've asked me to come speak to you, of this cross between technology and the future of national security, what are the trends? We're wrestling with it. We're going to talk about it at the conference. We've created all sorts of new programs around it, whether it's at the NATO level, whether it's at the Pentagon level with the JAIC, the Joint AI Center. We get it in terms of our personal concepts. In fact, there was a survey taken of leaders, and they asked them, what do you think is the most important game-changing technology out there? And 91% of leaders said AI. I would argue, though, we are the equivalent of the battleship captains, the SWOs, of the 1930s. So coming out of World War I, you had a debate, very fierce professional debate, on basically the new air power acolytes versus the old guard. And it was an either-or discourse. It was either this new technology makes everything else antiquated and needless. We won't need Navy, we won't need even ground forces. And then at the other end, you had that, no, air power, I mean, the battleship is still dominant, does not matter. They were embracing change just enough not to change. And as you look at this picture here, you can see the consequences of that kind of thinking. That's the battleship Arizona prior to Pearl Harbor. This is from a U.S. Army training exercise in 1931. We get it, machine guns matter, and that is why we're putting machine guns on the back of our horse-drawn wagon. We're embracing change just enough not to change. None of those computers had what you all would call sensors, the ability to gather information about the world around you. And then what Zuckerberg does is allow us not just to gather that information, but share that information. The idea that you can have a smartphone that has over 30 different sensors in it, whether it's a camera gathering visual data about the world around you, to geolocation. Where is that camera? Where is that person? But then via social media, broadcast it out. What does that create? Not just, as I mentioned, more information than ever before, but the ability to share it like never before, and a new form of conflict, what we call like war. What's the equivalent of that horse-drawn wagon? What's the equivalent of that battleship Arizona? If we're honest, it's not ready for the future of war. It's probably not ready for the present of war. But I'm not just talking about technology or systems or platforms. I'm talking, maybe most difficult, org charts. And what do I mean by sacred cow? What is it that you're thinking right now that some part of you is saying, yeah, but I shouldn't say that out loud in front of this audience. I shouldn't write about it in proceedings because it might be bad for my career. Those sacred cows, We need to kill them, because if we don't, they're going to end up getting people killed. Did what Clausewitz and Scharnhorst and the others come up with in the 1800s, is that actually the best model for the 21st century? Ooh, that got uncomfortable. Should we think about maybe altering our concepts or our numbers of staff officers or the org charts, or, oh my God, J1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, et cetera? Maybe that's the kind of reform that we're going to have to go through. What will it take to get that kind of reform? Will it have to be a major loss? So again, I want to thank all of you for allowing me to speak to you, and for the folks for inviting me. Appreciate it.